Welcome to The Difference. Today, I have a guest that I've been trying to get on this show for, I won't say years, but for a minute. We have the director of the Institute for Southern Storytelling and the wife of Anthony Thaxton, or I should say, Anthony is the husband of
Yes.
Amy Thaxton. And so, Amy, thank you for
Or I
being
say
here.
life coach sometimes, but
And so, as you listen today, we're going to take a minute and talk about her journey and the story of the Institute for Southern Storytelling. So, stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, Amy, we've talked behind the scenes all the time. As a matter of fact, with the episode with Anthony, you were kind of peeking out from behind the door, deciding if you were going to do this. So, thank you for deciding to do it. He and I
totally
have
out of my comfort zone.
Well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first started, I wasn't used to this. So the good thing is our listeners and watchers are very gentle, thoughtful people.
Of
So
course.
don't be
Yes.
afraid.
Okay.
Um, we wanted to take a minute today to talk to the people about uh, your journey to the Institute and then the conception and birth of that Institute. And the thread that kind of weaves it, we were just talking about that, is just like everything kind of happened in this beautifully mysterious timing. So, start with us, your story of Mississippi College, how you found your journey here. It truly is a family story.
It really is. And MC is a big part of it throughout. I graduated undergrad here in English, in the English department here. It's just stellar and such good people. And a lot of them are still very much a part of our daily lives.
Oh, wow.
Um, but I did not meet Anthony when we were here at MC. I met him at our first teaching job at Clinton Junior High School, and he wooed me with Aerovision, which was a TV show that they did. Students did every week, and I was like, this guy's really fun. And at the end of the school year, we went out, and he promptly moved away, and we had a long-term, long-distance relationship. But then we married here in Provine Chapel in 1999. So,
And one
um,
of one of my favorite books that he's done is the story of your letters
courtship,
and courtships. If
yes,
you've not seen the Love Letters book, where, I mean, how could you not be smitten by
exactly.
somebody who draws works of art on every letter he sends you?
Exactly. So, like I said, he promptly moved home, which was 3 hours away when we started dating. And so the letters, what I loved about them too is that he sent them to the school. And teaching junior high is just wow. I mean, it's a lot of fun, a lot of energy, but it is probably the hardest thing I've ever done besides grad school.
Which, by the way, isn't this part of that
This
campus?
well, this was the campus. I never taught here. Anthony taught here,
Uh-huh.
but then we moved across town to the old high school building. So I was a little further down the
Down the
road.
line.
But he would send those letters to the school, and they would be in my little mailbox in the office. And that's what was so fun is that then a student worker would hand deliver, and of course he loved to take it and show everybody else, and then I would get it. So it just made it so much fun. And again, the students were part of that courtship.
Mhm.
They all knew Mr. Thaxton. He wasn't there anymore because he had moved to another place, but that was really a neat thing. And I don't know if Anthony's mentioned to you, but we probably had over 100 junior high kids at our wedding,
Wow.
which was really a lot
What a
of fun.
testimony, yeah.
So yeah, so that's the early part of our relationship. And then, so you ask, how did we end up here? And
Right.
when I look back, 26 years of marriage, of course, for a lot of us, COVID was a big part of
Mm,
life change for
right.
so many. For me, we had been traveling and doing a lot of things with Palette to Palette, a television show that we had
Right.
done
Robert St. John.
with MPB and Robert. And all of a sudden, that just came to a screeching halt because we couldn't go anywhere. And it just, I don't know, I was looking at my life goals at that point. I think I was around 45. and said, I always wanted to get my master's and just have never sat down long enough to have that time to do that. And COVID was a big time that all of a sudden I had a lot of time on my hands. And my children were getting older, and Bryant had started school here at MC. Sydney was in high school. And so I came back and started getting my master's in English with just the idea of let me do this while I've got some time.
Hmm.
And I ended up finishing that degree in 2023. And of course, the Lord knew what was happening. He knew what needed to happen. I had no idea why I was getting my master's degree. At that point, it didn't really make sense, except that it had been a goal of mine. And I thought, I better do this now.
And you just followed it.
Yeah, I did. And of course, Anthony was a huge cheerleader. My children, huge encouragers. Go, Mom, Mom, you can do this.
And
I
I
went,
think I can remember a few seasons when papers were due and
oh, it
stuff.
was
It was
terrible.
crazy.
It was terrible, to be quite honest. No, it was a really good experience. But it was challenging
Mm.
because a 45-year-old brain works differently than a 21-year-old brain, and it was just really wow. But it was a really good experience coming back to the campus too. And so as I said, I finished that degree, and then we opened the institute that summer. And so, of course, in my life plan, in my mind, I had no idea that the institute was anywhere in the future. I'm not sure that maybe we had had some discussion about mentoring. Anthony and I think we're both teachers at heart. Um, and as you approach your 50s, you're going, how can I give back? What are
Right.
some ways, um, when you're young, you're very involved, of course, as young parents. And we wanted to figure out how to do that at a bigger scale, mentoring more kids. And so one thing that happened is we did the Walter Anderson film,
Yeah.
and as a
Which
family,
the whole family was involved in.
yes.
Yeah.
Again, Sydney, she camped out with her dad at Horn Island and helped with footage, and then Brian, of course, the beautiful music that he composed.
Which he won an Emmy
He
for too.
did, and so one big part of that story is that Bryant was a music major here at MC when he composed that music. So he did that along with all of the coursework that he had going on. And it just kind of started us thinking, because of course the musicians that did the score, all of them were high school age. I think
Which
maybe our youngest was 16 at the time.
which if I remember started the relationships through the Brick Street Boys,
Yes,
who they had
absolutely.
formed and
When we
created
had
a
the gallery in Old Town
exactly
Clinton and all of
exactly
that, I
right.
mean, all of that worked together. And, sometimes we discount youth, we discount people because they're young. And
Right.
that's such a great time of life because it's just, there's no limit.
And they're
If they're,
fearless.
yes, that's the whole thing. They are absolutely fearless. Life has not beaten them up
Hmm.
quite yet. And so we thought, wow, if we could duplicate this, if we
Hmm.
could plug students in to our professional projects and let them, you know, collaborate, let them be a part of that, let them do some resume building. Wouldn't that be awesome? And, awards are nice, Emmys are nice. It gives you
Right.
some, you go, wow, they did that. But just that day to day of feeling like their skills are really worthy of being used, and they push themselves in ways that they didn't know they could do. I remember Bryant saying, Dad, I can't do this. This is a huge thing. And he said, Bryant, you're writing band shows. Just write a few of those and stack them together. Think about it that way. And I think that's a big part. Sometimes young people look and they see this whole big picture, and they just need someone to say, you
Well,
take it one step at a time, and
and
that's how that
and
happens.
have the right tools. I can remember him
Yes,
getting some of the production equipment, his ability to play all the instruments and
right.
compose on his own because
Yes,
Bryant is no secret is very much an introvert and he likes working and having the tools he needed to begin to formulate that. It was so
right.
cool.
It really was. And then, of course, he another home run with the Eudora
Right.
documentary soundtrack. And so I feel like that's where that genesis happened. That's where that idea was born of how can we how can we do this for others.
And it
And
started really as a passion project. I mean, they
absolutely.
were not paying you big bucks. Y'all
No.
were just loving your way in as Anthony redid the room, as you
Yes, this
began
was
to
a
talk
paper
about the
making
visions.
classroom, and it
Exactly.
was gross. We thought,
And
how can we do this? And then, of course, it's a thing of beauty now, and it but it shows create that creative spirit.
exactly, of
That's
making something out of nothing, that
yes,
create. And then you discover that all of a sudden you know why you need your masters.
right. And then I thought, what if I had not followed that urging and done that? We would, I guess, be looking somewhere else to see if someone. I tell people, people ask us pretty much daily, how do you work together every single day
Hmm.
as a husband wife team? And we've had times that we didn't, and it was difficult. I think mainly because Anthony is such a creative. Um, how would you describe that, Steve? It's just a tornado almost. It's always in motion.
You're grounded and he's a free radical, and he's got
Yes,
to have something to
he
be
has to have.
tethered to.
I think that's a really good way to say that. And so, what I tell people is what I try to do in my role as executive director is take all of those ideas and put them to paper and get a plan.
You have to
Because,
have a lot of paper. Whenever I
yes,
was preaching my associate, I would go and sit in his office and he said, "You come in here with a Gatling gun. I just need one or two ideas." And Anthony is
exactly.
not a Gatling gun. He's like an explosion.
Right. And so it's finding, a workable plan. And
Hmm.
again, now that we have interns and field studies and different things, figuring out how to best plug them in so that they get a really good experience through their semester work as well. One thing I really love about MC is that it's small enough where you can customize and tailor a student's experience. And, one of the things Anthony has a big heart on teaching the student, not necessarily, the skills, yes, the skills, but at the center of that, teaching them, that person.
Just understanding. I mean, your kids are the perfect example. You couldn't. Like in every family, usually the siblings are gifted in different ways, and
Complete
learning
opposites.
how to meet them where their learning point is so critical.
Yes.
And as I've watched y'all mentor so many of the kids that have come through here, they come to you with these ideas, and a lot of teachers will go, "No, we don't do that. No, we can't do that.
Yeah.
No, you're in the wrong department. We're not going to let you make a documentary, or you're not
Hmm.
going to do this, or oh, well, that's not going to be up to the stat." No, y'all just say, "Well,
Let's see.
what are you thinking?"
Yeah. What are your passions? What would be so much fun to you
Yeah.
to work on? And then we try to figure out if we can align that and bring that experience for them. And again, what I appreciate about MC is that these different departments have figured out how to do this so that, like with the English department, it's a field study. And so when they come, we had a couple do screenwriting last semester,
Hmm.
and that was just amazing. And so with biology, with psychology, with um, communications, of course, that's a pretty easy fit, but because they already have an internship built into their last semester of work, so that's how we have those students plug in. But it has been so rewarding to see all of those things come together, all those components work together.
There are a lot of programs out there that do this, but what really endears me most to the institute is this is even though you know the reality of storytelling is different than it was, the
Of
technology has
course.
made it necessary for every discipline, but you still circle back to the story and not the equipment or the technique
All of
or
that
all of that.
changes
It's
so
supplemental,
much.
but it's not
Yes,
primary.
exactly. And because it really is the attitude
Hmm.
that you're bringing to it, just really that mentality of seeking out the story. And because if it's speaking to you, there's a reason that it is. And
Right.
it may be that you're the one that's supposed to tell the story. And so it's been really fun to watch that individual experience with each student. And that's the other thing. They find us, that was one thing that I was like, how are they? Because we're kind of over here on the East Campus, which is the arts campus.
And you
Um,
now actually have your own sign.
we do, so that we're easier to find.
Exactly.
But they reach out and they say, "Hi, I'm a graphic design major, but I'm
Hmm.
really interested. Is there any way I can plug in?" And that's what I really enjoy too, is
Yeah.
that they find their way to us, and all of that. It's a,
What's been really cool to me is all the spin-offs that have come this. You now have film companies come to find
yes,
students to make movies. You are producing experiential things, including time travel here. And there's another event coming up on the horizon that I know you're really excited
we're
about.
we're
Talk
in
about that a
planning
little bit about.
stages for that, and we are very excited. This is something that we do in conjunction with the city of Clinton. They have a festival in March called the Red Brick Roads Music Festival. And they approached us last year and said, we've always wanted to have some kind of film component of that. Do y'all have any ideas? And so we had our first annual Story Fest last March. It's a great event. We had Gary Grubbs come from Hattiesburg, and of course, he's been over in over 200 films and movies, and he just told stories, and it was wonderful. And then we had Michael Fair Smith come, and our students had done a short film with him. And so we were able to premiere that short film to that audience, and Michael answered questions. So it was just a great night. So that was a year ago. And this year, Thursday, March 26th, will be our second annual Story Fest here at Entergy Auditorium here on campus, and we're just thrilled about it. And we have Frank Ordaz coming from
Uh,
Sacramento, California. He, of course, worked with Industrial Light and Magic,
and we had him
Lucasfilm.
on the Hour Show.
Oh,
Interviewed him,
awesome! Well,
and
maybe
he
we can do a podcast while he's here,
we
kind of a
should we
follow up.
should do that because
Yeah,
he came and spoke when I was at Hattiesburg. Anthony, we had
that's right, at
filmed him, and he
Heritage.
is
Yeah,
such an incredible guy
he really
who
is. He has such an incredible story.
and faith. I mean, you would
Yes,
not. He was such an instrumental part of the creation of Star Wars and some
yes,
of the cut front edge at the time technology that was used to create the illusions and tell the stories. But he is a hoot, and I think that's one of the things that you guys have met. If you look at the characters that you've associated with Gary, with Smith, with him, they're so different,
they are.
and that gives your students such a cornucopia
It
of kind
really
of
does. I
exposure.
think about like Randall Wallace and how
Exactly.
he came to visit, and wow. And so
And tell them about Randall because I mean, he wrote and
Braveheart.
did Braveheart
Yes.
and just Secretariat and
Yes.
several others, and came here to Mississippi College and was blown away, fell in love with the Institute and with you
Yes.
guys, and is just so eager to do that. And I think the creative artists that have bumped into the Institute, that have come in, what they love is the authenticity
Mm.
and the sense that they're not in another your people talk to my people
No. Yeah.
business meeting like
W-
so much in
Mainly
the
because we
industry.
don't have
You
other
don't have
people.
people, you are the people.
Right. So guess what? You call,
You-
you talk to us, and that's about it.
exactly.
But no, um, again, just a God thing. I mean, the fact that our students were able to have great Q&A time with him and his sons. Again, for them, it's a family thing. Their
Right,
films are a family thing, and that's a big part of what we're seeing too. Is,
right.
last semester we had a couple of students that were able to plug into a film that came here. They actually filmed in the abandoned Metro Center Mall, and but it was a family immediately. And honestly, the film business is a lot like that anyway because it's so collaborative, and you just have you're solving problems 12 hours a day all together. It's kind of like trauma response, and so
Hmm.
you get really close really quickly. And so I think that's what every film crew feels anyway, most of the time, if you're in a healthy
Right, you're doing
environment.
improvisation, but it's triage too.
It
So,
really is. And so that I think our interns get a healthy dose of that working with us. They understand that the best laid plans. I told Lily the other day, the more I plan, the more that's not going to happen. But at least we're trying to think through because things just change.
Well, I was
Because,
talking to a student that's in a communications class, and the most exciting thing she had done was watch some YouTube videos.
mm-hmm. There you go.
Wow, it's a
Right.
lot of difference
Yeah. Yes.
between burning a house down and making a movie
Right.
and being a part of an alien movie at a mall
Right.
and trying to figure out how to do that and watching a video.
Yeah, it is. We're very experiential around here. So
Exactly.
we tell, it may not be perfect, but you're going to have your hands on equipment and be doing it. And that's the best way to learn,
I mean,
especially
it's
in an industry like this.
exactly. So circle back to your Story Fest, and so we're looking at
We have Frank coming in, and then we also have Joey Smith, which Anthony has a very personal connection to him. That's Anthony's. He was Anthony's college roommate,
oh
Dr.
wow,
Gore's nephew.
oh
Now he and his family live in the Atlanta area. He works for the CDC, but he's an author, and he and Anthony did a book together called Out on Yukon. Anthony did some drawings, and then Joey wrote, and so he's coming as our guest author.
it's almost like a graphic novel.
It
is
is.
such
Oh,
a
it's
cool
amazing.
thing.
It's a great
Yeah.
story, and I'm excited to see that come together. So the audience will be able, again, we'll have a little after party, and they can get those books signed and talk with Frank and talk with Joey. You had Nate Brock on
Right, we
the
did.
show, and his band, the Broken Halos, will be playing, and he did some animation that
Yeah,
we'll
he was
show.
working on some anime
Yeah,
when he was
so
young.
we're gonna show that night as well. So all these different awesome creative venues.
If I'm a
coming
student, I'm
together.
listening to this, I'm like, how do I get to this place? It's
Well,
so cool.
Yeah, it is, and just a lot of different opportunities. And that event will be open to the public, free. That's another one of our big missions. Is we want to be able to offer these different things to the community. And so again, Thursday night, March
Cool.
26th. Mark your calendar.
So let's circle back to the Institute and
Okay.
kind of wind up. And that is, so if a student hears this and they're or a parent and goes, oh my gosh, my kid would love that, or how can they visit or considering being a student here, what do they need to do?
Well, the mc.edu website, that's where they can set up to come and tour and just ask questions. I know, like with Bryant, we toured even when he was in 11th grade. You don't have to wait until your senior year to do that.
Right.
And they will communicate with us, but also I welcome people to reach out. My email or Anthony's email, athaxton@mc.edu, or CB Thaxton, that's me, because he stole A. But anyway, and set up a time to come and visit. We love that.
And people do it all the time. We'll be doing, there's hardly a podcast we do when somebody doesn't come
walk
walking in
Yes.
and is being given a tour
Right.
by the president or one of the department heads or
Yes.
somebody.
Yes, so we're very open to that because we want people to come and see what we're doing. Love to visit and answer any questions that people have.
Well, I know you were reticent to do this, but thank you so much
Well,
for
thank
taking
you,
time and
Steve.
telling the story. The Institute is, I love coming over here every time because whether it's interns or the people we're doing the podcast with, I always am happy when I go home because I feel like y'all are family to me.
Absolutely.
And, I tell Anthony all the time, he married way over his head. And, so thank you for tolerating him and wrangling him
it's fun.
in order that he's
Most of the
around to
days.
bless us, like all of us.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to get in contact, they can email you. They can mark the date. Again, what's the date?
March 26th.
March
Thursday
26th in Clinton,
Mhm.
the Brick Street Fest, and you will love being a part of that. And I'm going to come over because I can't wait to see those who will be speaking. So
Good.
thanks again, and thank you guys for listening. And as always, hey, live loved.
You've been listening to The Difference, a presentation of the hour. The Difference is made in conjunction with and partnership with the Institute for Southern Storytelling at Mississippi College. To find out more about the Institute and ways that we are partnering and mentoring young lives through storytelling, filmmaking, and more, visit us at southernstorytelling.mc.edu. And for more resources from the Hour and from The Difference, check us out at our Hour Stream platform with the streaming content at thehour.org. I'm Anthony Thaxton. Thanks for joining us.